Yeah, I'm like, how? ¿Cómo así? Papi didn't have his bag, and he has one bag. His bag is this big. Every morning he'll go out to my this is his bag.
Medio chancho.
That's it. I'm like, there's 10 people. Like we're rolling deep right now. How did you feed us right now? I don't understand.
My gosh. But then yet out here, first world problems. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for real.
We need to change the towel from that hangs in the front of the this is like high level master chef such like $3,000 stove to make fucking grilled cheese, like seriously, and whack ass mashed potatoes. That's like the
Yes,
average story out here. Like some people won't even touch people's mashed potatoes. They just look at it like, really? Like they don't care how high class they are. Like your mashed
yes.
potatoes whack.
You know, got all the stuff, and it just sometimes, and they just use like the very simple like stuff, and they're just like, and they roll. They're like, "What you want to eat today?" Like, and you could just come out of nowhere and just come like, let's have a lechon today. Okay, we'll make a lechon. A cajachina and all of that stuff. Man, listen,
Mm. That cajachino is no joke. Oh my god,
right?
I fell in love with that thing. Well, you saw
Yeah, you came here, replicated it.
three times.
Yes, la cajachina. Yes.
Your dad had to put two of them to rest that was still in his garage. And he was like, I had a great time taking those things apart. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, yeah, all the screws. Like, look, and he had like all these containers with all the screws that I used on that thing.
No. Oh my God.
And he's like, oh, they're really useful. I'm gonna keep them.
He probably still has them in there.
Yeah, like
He's probably still using them.
he wasn't kidding. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put these to use." I mean, I took them all out. I'm gonna put them to use. Like, all right, you put in the work, you might as well keep them. Why not?
Dale,
This,
ahí está. Yeah. Oh man. But here they sell them out there. It's like very common here. I've seen like people talk about like, they just buy them or they have it in their backyard when there's like a get together, whatever. They just put the gajachina together. I was like, okay, because my brother-in-law can make that. I don't think we need to buy one, but okay, whenever we get a yard. I didn't know it was like common up here, like okay, yeah.
yeah, I
So,
mean, the only thing is, you got to pay like 450, $600 for them.
yeah, like who has that kind of money, Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, I made three of them for about $200.
Here it is. Got creative. That's one thing about you. Like you always like te inventas algo, like how to get creative. Remember you made your gym? You were making him.
Yeah,
Remember you were doing stuff like that, right? You're doing
yeah.
the weights and stuff. So yeah, that's
Talking
good.
about that, I just threw out one of my I took one of those 5 gallon gas jugs that has a nice big handle, and I filled it up with cement. So each of them are equivalent to 55 pounds. And I used to use that for farmers carry, which is great for like posture, and it actually reduces stress too. It's not really long of an exercise. It's like 5 minutes of an exercise, but just walking with those things. And the way I got them was I had, how they do the AutoZone? You buy 5 things for $20, you get $20. So
Hmm.
I used those $20 to get the 2 containers, and I spent $4 on quick cement, and I filled them all up.
Oh wow,
Yeah. It lasted
yeah.
me about 5 years. When right now I'm like, yeah, I don't use these things anymore. I'm gonna take a break. I really can't be doing that exactly right now. So I
Hmm.
threw them out because it's taking up so much space. But ironically, this morning I actually started exercising, and all I did was some yoga poses, and I didn't even touch the weights. So now during the COVID, since I sit so much, I had to do it.
Yeah. I said a lot of times too, like people use their own body weight during exercise. Like if you don't have like weights, especially like during the COVID where they don't have gyms and people need weights and stuff. So in that event, what you're supposed to do is use like body bands. And for example, like if you're gonna do like hip lifts, you put the body bands like you fold them in half and you put them like on your feet and then you just like thrust up and stuff like that. Then you do like a lot of resistance. It has to do with a lot of weights and stuff. So I was like, well, that's interesting because then maybe I'll get me some bands and I don't have to have like weights and stuff around the house, you know? Because I do have a bar, but it takes up room, you know, to have kettles and I was like, I don't know. But
In bands like this.
yes, those
Yeah,
bands. Hmm.
these things are great. They're good for reducing stress to the joints. You still get the resistance that you can with weights.
Uh,
However, the fact that there's not much of a balancing act going on, it's only one direction. It takes away so much stress from the joints. It's a great way to do it. In fact, that's how a lot of athletes recover from injuries. You know, they don't have them
okay.
use weights and they transition to that. And that you were saying about the assisted bands to like for pull-ups, it's great to start off, but you can't do high reps. Man,
Mm-mm.
sometimes people just get misguided with trying to do high reps like 30 in the 40s. Like, dude, if you can manage to do 5 sets of 5 sets of 10, do it that way
Hmm.
where it's controlled. Because otherwise, then you slip. You start getting like, okay, I'm almost done, and then slip, smack.
Man, there is there is there's a DIY for those like the pull-up bar like if because I can't really put a bar up here because the frame is not the best on
Yeah,
the door. So you take like two towels, right? So say this is your towel, right? And then this is your towel, and then you would like it's an old towel, so then you would rip this part, the top, and this would be a knot. And then you would put it like you would put it like over the door. Like the knot would be over the door. This is the knot, and this is the towel. You would close the door, and then this is what you would hold on to, and you would do the pull-ups. So you would need two towels, and you put it on top, and then you would just hold on to that, and then you would do the pull-ups like that.
nice.
So
That's
just
pretty awesome.
yeah. So you just you know. Oh my wow, people really. I love how these ideas are just coming out. Everybody's getting creative, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've always been a big believer of whatever you want to do, there is always an alternative way to get it done without having to be a millionaire. You don't have to be very wealthy. You don't have to have a bunch of money. You don't have to borrow money from such. You have materials around your home. I mean, go into the backyard, look around the house. You'd be surprised how many things you can actually use for such. But I mean, gosh, now I'm like inspired to like show you the the farmer carry. But
Yeah.
I have one left to throw out. I threw out one. So hold on 1 second. I'm gonna grab it. And if you feel like saying a little something, I don't mind because I still have the headset
Oh,
on
you do?
while
Okay. You know, the gym charged me a monthly fee this month.
what's the hell?
Yeah, I'm like, why? I thought things were still. I guess they're opening here, but I didn't think they would charge me the monthly fee. So I have to go cancel them.
No, now that you mentioned that, I was happy about the fact that Planet Fitness kind of they ended my membership, so then they don't have to charge me the monthly fee.
Oh man.
So see if I can point it. You see that?
Oh yeah, I see it.
So
Okay.
basically, I started off. I put a hole through it right here because I used to have a 1 inch barbell, and I used to use
Okay.
it for deadlifting. Then afterwards, when I was able to afford getting an Olympic barbell, I stopped using it. But pretty much it's just a matter of I used to hold this backwards and
Mm-hmm.
walk with it back and forth. And there, I have a farmer's carry. I walk around with it for 5 minutes, and I improve my posture and I bring down stress.
Okay. Oh wow.
all for $20.
That's not bad. How much does that weigh?
55 pounds.
For one? No thanks. That's a lot of weight. I'm good. That's ambitious.
But
Me.
even at that, there's the fact that it can be done that way. There's still other ways to make them smaller. Like for example, the kettlebells. What people do sometimes, they take basketballs or a soccer ball that they're not using, or they go to like Dollar General and get the cheap balls, cut them up, put PVC pipes that are bent, and fill it up with cement, and there we go. You got some kettlebells.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be doing some snatches or anything like that, but to use them for farmers carry, it's pretty done good, and for like maybe some kettlebell swings, it's pretty safe to use. But for racking, it's the worst to use because there's a certain groove to when it goes onto your wrist that you need to have there, and those DIY kettlebells are not going to work for that. But for the other benefits, you don't have to do racks. There's plenty of people that get very fit, and they have a lot of success in getting stronger and improving their posture without having to do any racking.
right.
However,
Okay.
if you want to improve grip strength and you want to carry that over for racking a barbell, it definitely helps with wrist flexibility.
Oh, mira. I didn't know that. Okay. So the kettlebell is not just swinging it around. There's a lot to it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
for sure.
I had no
It's
idea.
funny. I'm looking at kettlebells right now. I have
Oh, you do?
yeah, because pretty much this studio area that I built, I also have the other half that has all my gym equipment, which little by little I've been incorporating because the last 4 months it's been impossible to work out. No, the level of stress that I've been going through. I'm a big believer that on a high level of stress and lack of sleep is a worse environment to try to use weights, and I'm addicted to weights. But I finally got to the point that I'm like, okay, I don't have to do weights. I'll just start off with some yoga and body weights and take it from there for now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's definitely the right track, you know, to start again. I mean, especially if there's like stress and stuff like that. You know, supposedly that builds more cortisol in your body, you know. Um, and even if you worked out and you're still stressed, you're just adding more stress to your body
Yeah,
by, you know, being so extreme sometimes. Um, but if you're like doing stretches and stuff like that, it kind of like, even if in your mind you're not relaxed, like your body's getting into that relaxation. It's like relieving some tension without abruptly just going right into like, you know, this CrossFit situation. Then yeah, I mean, it works for some people, but sometimes what kind of helps, I think, is when you're in the gym setting and you really forget. You know, sometimes it's tough when we're home because we're home, you know, so you can't forget. Like, you work where you live and you can't really disconnect. And sometimes that stress kind of just energy just kind of gets stuck in there, and then we just can't let it out, you
yeah,
know, because we can't really walk away from the environment too much. Even if you're working out, you know, we're so used to removing ourselves from being in different locations or taking a walk down the street a lot more often, or whatever it is that we do for exercise. So it's sometimes, yeah, it's hard to leave the stressful environment if it is like, that's how it was when I was working. When I was working, I'm like, I can't be in my room because this is where I need to work. You know, this is my workstation and my room. So it's hard for me to relax in a place that I find like that corner is a stressful corner, but that corner is it's like, you know, so
no, it's true that mental space is taken up by knowing that okay, this location is affiliated with that, so it's like I need a break from this space.
yeah. Let me go in the
Let's
living room a
separate
little
them.
bit. Yeah. Yeah. So
No, it keeps you
that's
sharp with that discipline.
yeah. But then it got, you know, after a while, it's been how many months now, since March, right? That we've been in lockdown.
Yeah.
But some people started working from home later than that, and then maybe not always right away. So there's like it took me a while. It took me after like a month, it still felt new. It took at least 2, almost 3 months to kind of be like, okay, I'm working from home. Like, it's okay, you know?
Yeah.
It took me a while. I don't know. I don't know about everybody, but then I was able to start the things I always wanted to do. You know, when you was like, shoot, if I work from home, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna have my coffee, I'm gonna do some reading, I'm gonna do some working out, I'm gonna do that didn't happen.
So true.
No. If anything, it was harder for some reason. I don't know why. I did more while I had to run around and go out into the world than when I was home at first. I don't know if it was like the culture shock of it, like this whole situation, but and I'm just speaking from like my experience. I'm not saying, I don't know, but for me it was harder. None of that. I would make a list of things I want to do and none of those things would get done.